think being good looking affects your position in a job?
I think appearances matter, but they shouldn't.
Has it ever affected you? Have you ever got a job over someone else because you were better looking?
Maybe, but I wouldn't know.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Josanne Cobham.
And what do you do for a living?
I actually work behind in this building here. I'm the marketing and PR coordinator for Stratford Circus.
Cool. Well, thank you for today. We're going to be talking about various topics. First question was, do you think that women make better leaders than men?
In most situations I've been in, I do think so, but I've also worked in environments where there's a lot of women there and it can become quite catty and bitchy. So in those instances, I'd rather have a male as a boss who's someone who's quite diplomatic and doesn't see you just because you're a female, and kind of jealousy gets in the way of things sometimes in the professional world.
So have you, over the years of working, have you mainly had women or men as leaders?
I've actually mainly had women as bosses, yeah.
So it makes a difference then?
Yeah, definitely, I think so.
Do you think that being good looking also affects your job role?
As in getting a job or once you're in a role?
Basically, in terms of, do you think being the better looking person, you have a step ahead than the person who's maybe not as good looking as you are?
No, when it comes down to it, some people may get a job because, say, a male or a female's interviewing them, fancies them, likes them, whatever, they get the job. When it comes down to the nitty-gritty, you have to be able to do that job. You've got to be able to fulfill your work plan, your job duties. So when it comes down to it, they might get through, but they'll soon go.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, have you ever been in a situation where you've actually got a job because you were better looking than the other person?
I've never been told that, and most of the times
No, they would tell you.
I'm not really observing who else is around me in interview situations, so I just go on my own merit and my own credit.
Okay, good to know. Lastly, do you think it's acceptable to take loopholes in a job role? Basically break the rules?
No, I don't think so. I'm a strong believer in karma in all walks of life, and what goes around comes around. It might bite you 1 week later, 10 years later, so if you do something bad in a job, you might not get another job, so, you know, don't do it.
I hear that. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Becca and I work at Urban Development in Stratford Circus.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us today. We just wanted to get a couple of opinions on a few questions that we're asking. Do you think that women make better leaders than men?
I don't think it would be fair to make such a bold statement. I think everyone's so individual and different that men and women might have different skills generally, but it depends on the person. So I think it's a bit of a broad statement.
Have you had more women or more men as leaders within the jobs that you've done?
It's been fairly split actually. I used to work in the charity industries, and that was fairly split, and there was a lot more women actually who worked in that. And I guess in the music industry, it's getting a bit more balance.
Yeah, no, definitely. Also, do you think that being good looking affects your job position or can affect getting a job?
I think it depends where you work. Certain industries, maybe it will really help you. Other ones, it's purely who you know or what you know. So, I don't know. It depends.
Have you ever got a job because you were better looking than the other person?
I doubt it very much. I doubt it.
Okay. Last question is, do you think it's acceptable to break rules to get ahead of the game? Basically take loopholes.
As long as no one gets hurt. I don't see why not.
No, I'm not allowed to say what I think, but yeah, no, I hear what you mean. Have you ever broken a rule yourself?
No, I can't say I have. I've never even lied on my CV or anything like that. I'm far too scaredy cat to do anything like that, so no. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you. Thanks. Hi, guys. What do you guys do for a living?
I'm a student.
I work in the public sector.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining me today. Just a few quick questions. Do you think that women make better leaders than men?
I do personally, because men are very ambitious and focused in one way, whereas women are good team players and possibly can take themselves out of situations and manage people more effectively.
Okay. Fair point. What about yourself?
I want to say yes, to be honest. I don't know, I think it depends on the job. Like in a competitive job, to be honest, I think men, because they don't have as much empathy, I believe. But that's a generalisation. But yeah, I do. But in other jobs, like caring, I think maybe women.
Fair enough.
Be more brutal in their actions. Definitely women get more involved in their jobs. But yeah, possibly to manage people effectively, you need to actually have some sort of connection with your staff.
Yeah, of course, definitely. Also, do you think it's important, or not important, do you think it makes a difference being good looking in a job rather to someone who's maybe not so good looking?
Possibly in maybe the public sector, or I mean even client facing, so you work in retail or something. That will, you're more approachable if you're, I don't know actually, it depends what you're selling. Maybe someone who's not so attractive is better to talk to because they're less intimidating.
Of course, that's a different way of looking at it. What about yourself?
I think for acting, definitely whatever people say, the majority of people, they get picked for looks, and even stars business, I definitely think if a man's hiring a woman and he's straight, he's gonna, without realising it, hire a prettier woman. But I think for jobs like, I don't know, obviously with an author it really doesn't matter, but apart from that, definitely. People say no, but I think it's instinct,
I think
isn't it?
generally, I think
Yeah,
attractiveness
it's
does go
okay.
far.
Lastly, before you go, do you think that it's acceptable to break the rules or jump loopholes to get ahead of the game, especially within the business sector? Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Spit it out. Don't worry.
Officially, it's probably not right. But yeah, I suppose if you're ambitious and as long as it's not illegal, I don't see why it's wrong to kind of get ahead of the game.
That's one way of looking at it. What about yourself? So have you broken a rule then?
No.
No comment. What about yourself?
I think it's wrong in the sense if you want to get a job, I'd want to know I got it on my own merit. But say I'm not going to lie, if there's a director because I want to do acting and he was good looking anyway and he's like, you'll get this role if you sleep with me, like I would. I can't believe I said that on camera.
We may cut that out, but no.
No, but I don't think you should, but I think it really depends. Like you shouldn't have to feel bullied. Like, some women will do it to get further in work. I wouldn't do it unless you actually fancy the guy.
Within reason.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, guys. Enjoy the movie. See you later. Thanks. Amy, what do you do?
I'm Amy and I work for a PR company in Soho.
Good. I forgot what I was going to say there. I completely lost my mind. Basically, we're asking people today, do we think that women make better leaders than men?
I think it depends what area you work in. But I'd say probably the majority of the time men are better at stuff like that just because of going from past situations. But I think it depends completely what sort of sector you're in.
No, it's an interesting comment. We've had some mixed opinions. Some people have said women, some people have said men. But in terms of women, a lot of women have said men, which is quite interesting. It's a bit worrying, actually. Also, do you think it's important to be good looking in a role? Do you think that can affect your job?
I think sometimes it can affect it in a bad way because people perceive you as differently to how you actually are. But it can also work in your favour, I suppose, as well.
Has it ever worked in your favour?
I don't know. I think for me it's probably gone the other way. But no, it's never sort of worked in my favour.
Okay, lastly, do you think it's